And people always ride single file, so they look like a train. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. We're talking about big game hunting today, folks, which is another way to say we're talking about planning for my alternate account, which is an 8.3 million GP account with only 2 Galactic Legends, and yet I'm still able to stay in Kyber 2 because I know what's up. But no, I do know that, I'm a good enough player that I can kind of figure it out. But the other big piece of it is I like to do all the off-meta counters and everything, and try to keep this account as relevant as possible, even though we only have 2 Galactic Legends. And so let's actually just jump into the game. I'll show you guys what's going on. I'll show you what's up. So we've got the 2 Jedi Galactic Legends. I'm working on more Galactic Legends, as you might imagine. We've got Jabba requirements right here, and it's actually, we're getting pretty close. The Boosh one, we only need 1. You can barely see that. The Chrysanthemum, we need 2 gold balls for him, and then we'll have everyone in gear 12 at the very least. And then we'll, Greedo, Gamorrean Guard, is we're all working on them, and there's a lot going on, folks. In the last episode of this, and all of my big game hunting episodes are actually linked in the video description if you're interested. And so if you watched the last one, it was talking about which characters we wanted to work on, because frankly, the set 6 for Datacrons is really strong, really cool for off-meta stuff, and it's probably worth taking a look at, or it was worth taking a look at. And I mean, set 7 is right around the corner, so who knows, maybe I'll be putting out another video talking about that. But there's a lot of different projects that I wanted to finish off before we moved on to other things, including letting ourselves get derailed by Jabba. So I do have this Mandalorian's team done, including a Relic 7 Canderous. We got armor up from gear 8. This whole squad is done and dusted. We've got this trooper squad all the way up to Relic 5 so that we can ignore revives from various things, but with using my droid cron with set 6. Traya, we had discussed getting her up to Relic 5 and then working on Darth Sidious. Of course, now she doesn't kill Lord Vader anymore. She is less vital. It would be nice to get her a few more Relic levels, but these are just the goals that I had set last time of just like, what things should we work on? IG-88, I would love to get him 7 because of his ship, plus he has a good Datacron as well. Savage Opress, of course, with his Omicron is ridiculous, and I did get him up to gear 12, and now we've kind of stalled out. I was trying to figure out if I should work on Hondo or not. I did get him to 4 stars until I finally decided, you know what, we need to farm Chrysanthemum and get all the signal data we can, and so that's what we're working on. But Kira and L3 would also be nice, just for smuggler reasons, and if we could get those 2 plus maybe like Raid Han, or not Raid Han, the young Han before he becomes Raid Han. The young, naive, but not so naive version of Han. It would be nice to have them for light side for I guess neutral territory battles, for that matter. The Grievous squad, we needed to get Newt from gear 11 up to Relic 5, and then the rest, like B1 I think was only Relic 4, B2 was certainly only Relic 3, and I needed to get them up to Relic 5 so I could use their Datacron. And, so this is just it would be nice to get more pilots. It would be nice to be working on Hutt Cartel. and more requirements for Hutt Cartel. You guys can see these. If you watched the video before, these were significantly less worked on, and this has been about a month since all of this progress, and so we've actually made quite a bit of progress on both Hutt Cartel and all of these other various requirements. I needed a couple troopers to go all the way from, you know, like gear 10 all the way up to Relic 5, and so I feel like we've made a pretty decent amount of progress. The problem is, folks, we're trying to stay relevant and, you know, stay relevant in GAC as well as staying relevant in the game, and we're trying to decide, I want to decide what I want for this account, because, you know, it's my alternate account. It's not as important to me as my main account, probably, even though it's kind of more fun in a lot of ways, but that we're doing okay right now. The thing is, we probably need some more reinforcements in terms of we probably need more Galactic Legends. That's probably one of the things that this account really does struggle about that, and I think the idea is eventually we'll probably get a lot more Galactic Legends. We'll just have to put them on the shelf one way or another. I don't know what the rules, like I'll probably enforce some kind of arbitrary rule for them. Something fun and thematic, who knows, but one way or another, the thing I realized, folks, is that so we're working on those Jabba requirements, and you guys saw that, right? Here, let me just make sure you see. Yeah, we saw this. So I'm getting close on Jabba. Hopefully in the next month I'll be able to start farming tickets, and that'll be great. Honestly, I think that the relic materials are actually the things that are the most difficult. Trying to get all the bronzium wiring is just ludicrously difficult, folks. It is really tough on this account to do that, and so that's the current goal. Like, that's full steam ahead. At this point, this you can consider this a derailment, because all we need are another 6 characters and then a few relics on these other ones. I think I counted. I think I still need like 30 total relic levels. So it's not like right away. Maybe I won't get it in the next month. Actually, now that I say that, I said out loud, 30 relic levels. I guess we'll have to see, especially with gear on top of it. But who knows? We might be able to get that, especially if we can buy it with the conquest currency or whatever. And then the question is, what things should I be looking into and working on for the future? And you know, the Hutt Cartel is going to be like the most obvious, right? Because they're going to be relevant for the raid. They're also relevant for the territory battle that's going on. They'll continue to be relevant for the territory battle forever, as long as I can keep putting relic levels on them. And so what other things should we be working on? Like the Hutt Cartel? It seems like that's like the most obvious thing. I think most people should be working on Hutt Cartel, if we're just being honest. Working on the giant roll here, folks. The giant croissant. Or at least, like, if you let your little kid, like, roll the croissant dough, and you're like, oh, hey, look, it's a croissant. And you know, your kid brings it to you, and you're like, oh, that looks more like a hut. But one way or another, Hutt Cartel seems like the gift that keeps on giving, folks. So what else do I want to work on? So here's an interesting thing I realized is I'm actually very, very close to getting Sith Eternal here, at least in terms of characters who are Relic. I put all of the characters that are required for Sith Eternal in this little group here, and you'll note that, you know, I don't have enough Relic levels on them. Like Emperor Palpatine needs Relic 7. We need Admiral Piet. We need Admiral Thrawn to get up to what, I think 6 or something. Sith Marauder needs to be up to 7, and everything I put those two Imperial troopers that I've been working on have more than enough relics at this point. We need Grand Moff Tarkin and Royal Guard, and then we need all of the questionable characters here. The other thing that I thought was interesting was my Lord Vader requirements are actually kind of coming along as well, and there's a lot of overlap for current events, like such as, first off, I really do need a Relic Tarkin. He is super relevant these days with being able to, you know, they're making all these ships for him. Even if you don't use all the ships, he's the one that we use to fight all the different all the different rebels fleets, Profundity and all of that, or Executor, apparently, with the new stuff. The Tusken, obviously, for the Tusken squad. Newt, I just recently reliced him. Of course, he needs another couple relics, but Zam is really good, too, with their bounty hunter. I've had her at Gear 12 forever. Embo, however, is probably the 5th member that I want to work on for my Hutt Cartel squad eventually. I think that he's going to be the 5th member. I don't think I'm gonna have a flex character where it's like, oh, sometimes I put Gamorrean Guard in, sometimes I just put Embo in, sometimes I put, maybe like one way or another. I think Embo might be the one because he has a good territory battle, Omicron, etc. I think he's going to be the one, and so probably going to work on Embo regardless of if I work on Lord Vader. But then I've been slow working on my Bad Batch, and of course Omega is not part of the requirements, but I do have my Echo at Relic 0 and everything. I have a Relic Padme, I have General Skywalker almost to the appointed amount, ARC Trooper is getting there, and then Dooku would also, once I get Sith Eternal unlocked, Dooku would also be basically ready. Same with Tarkin. So there's actually some decent overlap between the two. This is kind of a pathetic slide, but I mean, or whatever you want to call it, page. But Royal Guard you have to work on to get Sith Eternal, and then he is necessary for Lord Vader anyways. And so these two Galactic Legends, Lord Vader it would be a pretty significant task to try to get him, especially because all those relic levels, that's one of the most difficult things. Plus, even just this much of Bad Batch is quite a bit. Plus, I'd probably want to be gearing up Omega for it and everything. But it is nice to think that even if I don't work on Lord Vader right away, I'm actually, if I go for Sith Eternal next, then I'll have a really nice start for those Lord Vader requirements, especially including Embo. Now, the goals that I've been looking at, guys, for this account, and they are things that not everyone has to be working on, but first off, and you can't see it really here, I'll move it down. I want Relic 8 and 9 for my Hutt Cartel, HC being not high C, not like those little fruit snack drinks or whatever they're called. You get them, you drink them in soccer during halftime. Don't confuse the two ever. But otherwise, I would really like to get Jabba up to Relic 9 on this account. And it sounds crazy because I keep my Relic levels super low, and that's why we have such a high GP right now, is because I have so many Relic levels at lower levels, but I have a ton of characters, kind of just sitting at that Relic 5. It's like this account was made for Phase 1 of the new territory battle, but it's like, what about round 2, Phase 2? And I'm like, no thank you. I just barely have anything. But I think that for this account, for any account, folks, the Jabba squad is just almost, I don't know if overpowered is quite the right word, but the more relics you sink into this squad, the more impressive it is. And that's the case for most squads, but I will say that for the Hutt Cartel especially, Boosh just does a crazy amount of damage once she gets to Relic 8. She just keeps escalating. It's really a huge pain. Chrysanthemum and Jabba are so thick that it gets to the point where unless your opponent has a really strong number of relics and really good modding and really good all this stuff, right now Afra might be able to take him out, but there's some Datacrons right now that are kind of not in the Hutt Cartel's favor, but I do think that this squad, once you get him up to Relic 9, for the most part, you get 9 on Jabba and Chrysanthemum, the rest of them at 8, not only are you going to be able to do all of the different missions for a long time in the new territory battle, but you're also going to put them on defense and make it so that your opponents fail on their attacks when they normally don't fail. I think that's just the case for this squad. I think that this is one of those squads that it just eventually it gets to be too much and people can't beat it that well unless they have a crazy huge account. Now, another one, I mean, I just showed you guys the Sith Eternal and Lord Vader requirements. My Sith Eternal, or sorry, my Supreme Leader Kylo requirements are also actually not too far away either. I mean, they just lack a ton of relic levels, but I mean, most of them are already outside of that Gear 11 mark, so Supreme Leader Kylo is not that far away either. It's not totally without, it's not totally outside the realm of possibility that I could unlock Jabba and then Sith Eternal and Supreme Leader Kylo and Lord Vader all within like the same, I don't know, 6-month time period if I really wanted to focus. I don't know if I want to focus to that level, but that is something that I am keeping an eye on. That would be interesting because I've never unlocked a Dark Side Galactic Legend, and right now I'm kind of lined up to unlock all of them kind of quickly. Now, one thing that I did do on this account is I committed to my guild that I was going to get my Darth Malak up to Relic 8, so that's something I need to do for platoons here pretty soon. Very useful character. They were very kind to let me have a really nice, useful character that I had to work on, but I do need to work on him, so that's kind of a mandatory one. Like, he would just be fine sitting on the back burner at 6, or, I mean, he was at 5. I moved him to 6 because I just need to slowly, incrementally work on him for the sake of my guild. Hopefully that'll be done by the end of this month. And then Savage, it's like, well, man, he's not that good at Gear 12, frankly, but he's great if you get him to Relic 5, you know? I mean, obviously, he's a lot better. So these are two things that I would really like to do on this account as soon as I can. Of course, probably need to be focusing more on working on my Hutt Cartel, of course, and then I would like to get Relic 5 on the Sith Trio. I would like to get better pilots, which of course these two are probably some of the most relevant pilots, especially I really need to be working on Royal Guard in the background because I have a lot of Carbanti right now anyways. Right now I'm working on Relics. I need to work on him because my shuttle keeps dying way faster than it should, and that, I mean, he's a huge reason for it. I mean, Emperor Palpatine should sit here right next to him too because he's only Relic 5. He could go up to 7 and fulfill those requirements. Now, Aphra would be, I mean, she's right down the alley for an account like this, right? I mean, her requirements, like Hondo and Sana, really go nicely together in 5s right now, in fact. And I already have a Relic Stormtrooper Han, which goes really well with Sana. I could work on Cara Dune, can make that into kind of a squad. And then Dr. Aphra, I already have Darth Vader and IG-88 that are both Relic and decently strong that can go with them. So this squad is right down my alley. However, it is still 4 requirement characters. Hondo is actually mostly geared at this point, but this is quite a bit. And then I'd have to get Dr. Aphra gear as well. This is a whole 5-man squad. I would like to do this though, especially because of the territory battle coming up. I'd like to work on my crew, which is probably just wishful thinking at this point, but you know, overpowering my crew levels would be really nice. It'd be really nice to get my boss up to like 7 at least at some point, especially because then he could help participate in that Tatooine mission in phase 3. With Fennec and company. And then also we have the Tuskens coming up in the Cal Kestis squad, and so that's kind of the crux of what I'm trying to think of is, should I just kind of derail myself? I mean, I won't derail myself too much, but like it seems like Tusken Raiders should be on my list pretty soon, right? I mean, probably Tusken Shaman probably as well, of just like a theoretical list. The Tusken Chieftain is in fact the fastest character right now in the game without that is in the Galactic Legend. He's like 204 base speed, which is just crazy. It's like, really? Apparently he's on a train, and that's why he's so fast. But I wonder what the warrior is going to be like. So far, it doesn't seem like the squad is going to be as crazy weird as or overpowered as like the Inquisition. You know, I'm not saying they're overpowered necessarily. It just overpowered in terms of usefulness in the game. Inquisition have just kind of, you know, they're everywhere. They're pervasive. They are required for everything, for conquest, for assault battles, for unlocking Riva to make themselves even better, for the new territory battle, like all the different places that they could be used. They're a very, very important squad. And they've actually been the sole, like, a lot of my focus from this account's perspective, trying to get them up to Relic 7 and everything, which they all are. I have Grand Inquisitor unlocked, and that's part of what we've been talking about on these videos, in fact. But here's the thing. I don't think the Tuskens, it doesn't seem like they're going to be quite as overpowered as they initially would seem. Yes, they're going to be really good in that Crate Dragon raid, and I think that I should be working on some of my Tuskens, especially Tusken Raider, like I've been saying for Lord Vader, and then of course is going to end up being Relic 4 here anyways, probably end up being Relic 5, you know, if we're being realistic here. Just for a lot of different reasons, but it seems like this team is actually going to be more required for just the raid, I'm guessing. I don't think they're going to be doing stuff in territory battles for it, and my guess is that my guild for this account is not going to need me to work on Tuskens that much, at least not for territory battles, and probably not for the raid either. And if we're being just the most honest, I don't think I have the time to run this account and do raids for it. I just don't think I do. I'm not that interested in trying to maximize my raid percentage. Honestly, like if my Hutt Cartel can go in and hit auto and do some good damage there at Relic 9, like I've been talking about, that might actually be way more beneficial. And so I kind of think that my Tuskens are not something I'm going to panic about, not on this account. I think that they're going to be really great for the raid. They're not getting a new assault battle. They're just going to be with the Inquisitors in that same Inquisitor new assault battle. And I don't think the Tuskens are going to be that vital, frankly, folks. I could be wrong, and maybe the squad will end up just being really powerful in 3v3 or 5v5. I don't really know that. We don't know that yet. We haven't seen the Warrior yet. We haven't seen all the synergy and a full Relic squad, etc. But my guess is that they're not going to be quite as vital. Like, yes, we're going to need them for Conquest. We're going to need them for Galactic Challenges. I don't think that this is something I need to be working on. I think the one that I do need to be putting a placeholder for those folks is the Cal Kestis squad, whatever it ends up looking like. I think that's going to have relevance in a ton of places in the game. I think that it's going to be somewhere, I think it's going to be a powerful squad. Maybe it'll branch out. I mean, we know that the Night Sister character is going to actually be intended as a booster for the Night Sister faction and everything. So we don't know exactly what the Cal Kestis squad is going to look like. I do think that this squad is going to be very relevant, and I know that this is just Ezra. We just don't have a place. He's just a placeholder here, folks. We don't know what exactly their role is going to be. What we do know is that it's going to be a new bonus node for territory battles with this squad in it, and so it becomes really important, just as important as the Afra squad, because I think that the Cal Kestis squad is going to, I mean, it's going to be required for all these different places in the Rise of the Empire territory battle, and I think it's going to be really good. I mean, the fact that Cal Kestis is going to get 3 different territory battle Omicrons is I mean, obviously it's going to be really important for territory battles, and I just think that this squad is going to be something that we're going to want to rush as much as possible, as much as you can rush like a free-to-play kind of squad. I do think that this is a squad that we're going to want earlier than all the other ones, so we're probably going to end up trying to drop everything for it once it is kind of available. So just keep your eye on that, of course. Otherwise, I think we're gonna stay our course on this account, trying to work on Hutt Cartel, obviously, and then after that, trying to just fill in the gaps. Get Darth Malak going, get Savage Opress up to at least Relic 5, something like that. Once I get Jabba unlocked, obviously get his ultimate, but then really work on as many relics for this squad as possible, and then probably put some gear on Embo as well, trying to get him up to Relic 7 or 8 with the rest of them, so that he can participate, throw an Omicron onto Chrysanthemum, lots of stuff. And then my guess is I will want to probably just focus on Sith Eternal Emperor and get him unlocked kind of early as well, just because we're so close, guys. We're stinking close on him. We need some relic levels, and then most of the characters are already up to the right gear level, so there's not a huge amount of work to be done here. Obviously we need, you know, Anakin I think needs Relic 8, etc. There's problems. This probably takes still a couple months to work on, but in the meantime we'll be working on Jabba, we'll work on Sith Eternal Emperor, work on maybe by then my Afra team will be all the way farmed. I'm just slow farming them right now. And once we get there, we'll probably get derailed at some point for some Relic, for some Datacron set 7 shenanigans. Who knows what that set's going to have. And just be looking into the future of which things should we work on. I don't think Tuskens are necessarily going to be the thing. Anyways, folks, let me know what your thoughts are. This video ended up going a little longer than I intended, but lots of thoughts for this account. It should be fun. Should be good. How do you stay relevant on an account that only has 2 GLs? I guess farming's GLs, but then also really focusing on these extra squads, trying to make sure that they're going to be worthwhile investments. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Are Tuskens going to be the Inquisitors of 2023? Are they going to have less importance, more importance? Do you think that we'll never know because they ride single file? I'd like to know, folks. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.